So for me, marrying a black woman and loving a black woman is like the epitome of loving myself.
You look so beautiful, everybody in here. Can you give yourselves a round of applause for coming through? Thank you. Coming through with the looks. Okay, you may know them from TV, from your social media feeds, from their viral social sitcom, or even from their award-winning podcast, Deadass. He is a former football star turned accomplished actor. Any Sistas fans in the house? Yeah, we're looking respectfully. And she is a superstar TV producer and just all-around incredible human being who we are also looking at respectfully. Aside from all that they do, they are also the parents to four boys. Woo! I'm tired just saying that. So they have been hailed the internet's favorite couple, and I think they deserve that title. Without further ado, please welcome a couple that is brimming with authenticity and realness. It's about to get real up in here. Please welcome Khadeen and Devale Ellis.
What's good? What's good? Any New Yorkers in the building?
Hey.
Anybody from Brooklyn in the building?
We got any Brooklyn heads in here?
Yeah.
In the house. All right.
I'll
Talk
take
to me
that.
nice. Talk
I'll
to me
take
nice.
that. Yeah.
I'm from Toronto. Any Canadians in the house? Crickets. Oh, hey. What's up, sis? What's
Toronto,
up?
eh?
What's up?
Toronto, eh?
Toronto, eh? I heard that drag. I heard it. Okay, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to have you. And
so
just
happy to be
before we get started, if anyone does not know, who knows Dear Black Love, our series, the Unbothered series, Dear Black Love, thank you so much for rocking with us. We appreciate you. If you don't know, Dear Black Love basically brings together dynamic duos like these two, and we delve into deep conversations. We get into what it means and what it feels like and the privilege it is to love a black woman. And so we're so excited to be here with Khadeen and Devale, who are like the blueprint for black love right now.
You too kind. You too kind. That's
Thanks
a
for
lot of
having us,
pressure.
y'all.
That's a lot of pressure. I ain't trying to have that pressure on me right
I
now.
get that. I feel that. And you've been together 20 years now. Soon.
Yes.
Yeah, October 3rd will be 20 years. You know, you have that date that you put out. That's the date. That's not actually the date I bagged him, though. If y'all want to go back to the date that I bagged him.
That was going to be my next question. Let's take it back to the beginning.
All right, to the beginning. So we actually date back to technically elementary school days. So he was in the 2nd grade, I was in the 3rd grade, and I noticed him, but we were babies. Fast forward years later, we're going to rival high schools. There's an event that I was asked to come and co-host, and I noticed on the lineup of honorees at the scholarship banquet, Devale Ellis. So I was like, okay. Kind of knew of him because we would cross paths our entire lives. Lived in the same area for years.
She was a stalker.
Lived in the same area for years. And I was like, you know what? This might be my opportunity to shoot my shot. So, I got myself together. I knew he was going to be there. I pulled out the cute little dress. And I was plotting on him from early. And got to the event, I saw him and his brother standing there, and that's when I went over, I introduced myself, and we got to talking. And then the rest is pretty much history. There was a little back and forth in between August and October. And October 3rd, we had our first official, I would say, date.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get enough of me after that, so here we are.
So
that's facts. That's all facts.
Devale, when did you know that she was the one, like this was your person? Because you just called her a stalker, so you need to make up for it.
Nah.
Come on.
So what I learned early is that women love differently. You know what I'm saying? 2 weeks into us being together, I remember being on the phone, and we had been on the phone every single day, and we were getting off the phone, and she was like, all right, I love you. And I was like, thanks. Because I ain't know what to say.
Thanks.
I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but I was kind of like, it's 2 weeks, like you wildin', but... And if I'm being honest, I was 18. I'm an athlete. I'm at a Division I school. I'm thinking about smashing. Like, she had this long hair. She had a super slim waist. Ass was fat. Like,
That's when my hair was real, y'all. This ain't my hair. I bought it, though. But, yeah.
Like, my mindset wasn't there. But she kept telling me how open she was to letting me figure out if I wanted to be in a relationship or not. And that kind of intrigued me because there was no pressure to be with somebody. And every time I had to make a decision of whether I wanted to go do something else or wanted to spend time with her, it was like, dang, every single day I want to spend time with her. And then and it was like, this is the one then. If I'm getting an opportunity to choose and I'm choosing her, she has to be the one. And that's how it happened.
I love that. I love that. So we know who said I love you first. But how did you describe each other to your best friends in like the very, very beginning? Because I think that's very telling.
Listen, y'all, after that event the October 3rd event that I met Devale at, well, it was pretty much like we kind of got together. I was attending an event at Hofstra University. He was attending Hofstra, so I felt like it was kind of like the stars aligning for us to see each other again and start something. So after hanging out with him for about 4 hours, we were in his dorm room. We wasn't doing the do.
Yeah.
Not yet. We were hanging out, though. We were hanging out. We were eating. We were having a good time. And I remember leaving that space with him, getting in the car, calling my cousin, who's like my sister, my best friend, and she was like, how'd it go? Because she knew I was so excited to meet him and spend time with him. And I said, girl, I met my husband tonight. I said that to her. And to this day, she still jokes about it because she was like, man, that nigga had a big ass head. He was like, she said he was shaped like a pot spoon. He had a big head, no body.
I was skinny.
He was skinny. She was like, your husband though. And she's like, that's a bit much. And I was like, nah. I was like, there's something about him. I said, we sat and spoke for 4 hours as if we were old friends just catching up on time. Like, it was effortless, it was simple, it was comfortable, and that was just when I knew.
Well, my conversation with my brother was not the same.
Wow. Again, you got some making up to do, Devale, as this conversation goes on.
Called my brother. He was like, yo, so what happened? I was like, yo, she came by. She came to the dorm room. His first question was, did you smash? And I was like, nah. He was like, you whack. And I was like, actually, she kind of mad cool. And he was just like, what? I was like, yeah, because at the time, it was kind of known that I only spent 2 to 3 weeks with a young lady, and then I was ready to just move on. Like, I was just, I was 18.
You were that guy.
I was an athlete. Now, I'm going to be honest. I was always very respectful. My uncle, my father always told me, anytime a young lady shares herself with you, you have an obligation to be respectful. So I never was disrespectful.
We got claps. We got claps for the bare minimum, but okay.
No, I'm serious. I was never the type of guy that was like, I'm just running and chasing and running. I always found the quiet girl who was the one that no one could ever get. And I wanted to be with her. And we would spend our time together, and it would be a thing between me and her where she walked by the calf or whatever, she give me a wink, I give her a wink, and we know what it is. I never ran my mouth. Because women don't like that. If you a guy and you running your mouth and you telling everybody else who you with. So there was a lot of young women who wanted to explore their sexuality.
Do you agree? Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
right.
So
all right.
That was my thing. I was quiet, I was low-key, but I was always a gentleman. So he was just expecting that this was going to be another thing. And I was expecting that as well, and it just wasn't. Like, I told him, I said, we talked. And he was like, like, I had just got to college. Now is where you're supposed to conquer when you get to college.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. My conquering started and stopped here. Seriously.
That's cute-ish. Is there any advice that you would give your younger selves? Like, if you could go back and talk to that person who met 20 years ago, met that person that you maybe, on Devale's part, maybe thought that they were going to be with, Khadeen absolutely knew. Would you give advice to that person? What would it be?
You know, I think the only downside to the fact that we met so early and we kind of just knew so early on that this was it, we didn't take time to focus on ourselves as individuals. And I remember our moms always saying, you know, it's cute and all now, y'all love each other, that's great, but who is Khadeen as a person? Do you even know who you are? Do you even understand the things that you like, the things that you don't like? And that had nothing to do with exploring men per se, but just Khadeen as the individual. What does she want out of life? What is she looking for? What does she want to accomplish? Of course, there were things that I knew that, you know, I wanted to continue through school, get my grad school degree, get a job, you know, start working, have my own place. Like, I envisioned myself having this Sex in the City lifestyle where I have my own apartment and the music is playing in my head as I bop down the street with my Birkin and all that, prior to even entertaining a man. But I literally went from my parents' house to his house. So I never really had that time in between to just focus on myself. I was growing as a person while keeping someone else in mind. And that's difficult. And we had a lot of issues over the years that we had to overcome because we're not only trying to figure out who we are as a person, but you're trying to do that and do it respectfully, and you're trying to do that keeping someone else's emotions in mind. And that's unfair to yourself, and that's unfair to the other person. So that's what I would tell my
But how
younger self.
did you do that? Like, how did you carve out that individuality while you were growing together?
I would say open conversations. Like, one thing about Kay, this is my best friend. She's been my best friend since we were 18. There's nothing that we can't talk about. And if you follow us on the podcast, a lot of people will say, dang, I can't believe that they talk about that. Yeah. Or they've had those conversations. But those conversations are part of the reason why I can look her in the eye and know that she's here on her own free will. There's no obligation. She makes a choice every morning to wake up and be next to me, and I do the same thing. When you can wake up next to someone and feel like that person is here because they want to be here, it takes away all the guessing game. So constant conversation, being honest and open in real time, not letting things fester, and also giving each other time to navigate. There were times throughout the 20 years where we were like, you know what? I don't think we should be together right now. Let's figure out if this is what we want to do. And during those times is when it was like concrete to us. Yeah, this is what we want to do because we gave each other time to go figure it out. And
you actually took breaks.
Yes, in college.
Wow.
In college, definitely. And it wasn't easy. I hated it. I'm not going to lie. I hated it. The thought that, once again, this is going to sound so crazy because once again, I'm 18 to 20 years old. If I could take this woman that I met that I felt was so perfect and put her in a glass case so that I can go out and figure out what I want for myself and come back, I would. But I couldn't. That's not how life works. Mm-hmm. So I had to be open to saying, babe, if you want to go do this, go ahead. And it's not easy for a man. Like, your ego starts to come into play, and you start to think like, she's so great, someone else is going to get her. And then you say, is it more important for me to try to find if I want something else or work on what I know is right here? And I chose to work on what I know is right here.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Again, claps. Mm-hmm.
You don't like to. You just don't like to clap for me. You seem very angry. Who hurt you?
Kathleen, the hater.
Because it wasn't me. The shade is the shade.
I just would like some more claps for Khadeen over here. For who's
all right.
Also.
All right.
That was really nice, and you are
Look,
a great.
there it goes again, the shade. I need you when we go outside and it's sunny. I just need the shade.
So we talked about how it started. I want to talk about how it's going and how you keep up this longevity, which Devale you just touched on. But what is the easiest thing to love about your wife?
The easiest thing to love about my wife, wow, to be honest, it would have to be her being a mom. Like, I watched this woman give birth to my first son, had to almost have a blood transfusion, do hours of surgery. I said at that point that if she made it through this, we're not having any more kids. This was my promise to God. Like, I do not want to lose my wife. And then 5 years later, she says she wants to do it again. This time she did it without any medication. She did it naturally. Then did it again naturally at home in a bathtub. Then did it again naturally at home. It's like to watch a woman's power and to be able to be a vessel of life, to create humanity is amazing. Like, there's nothing, and I'm not trying to belittle women with careers or say careers don't matter, but to be a vessel of life and be able to create life is something that only women can do. Like, anybody can have a career, but only a woman can do that. So the easiest thing would be watching her be a mom. Like, that's just the most amazing thing.
It's my favorite thing.
Y'all can clap for that. We can clap.
Oh, now I get a clap. Now I get a clap.
My favorite thing to do, though, is mom.
Okay, Khadeen, what's the hardest thing to love about Devale?
Oh, man.
Y'all see the setup, though? Y'all see?
Wait. Watch how I finesse this, though.
All right, finesse this, baby. Go ahead, finesse this.
So, the hardest thing to love about Devale is that Devale has no off switch. And because he has no off switch, you hear though.
Finesse
You
it.
hear though.
Finesse it.
The hardest thing to love about somebody that does not have an off switch is that he's always going. He has the tenacity and the work ethic and the resiliency and the unyielding desire to succeed unlike anybody I've ever seen. When I met Devale at 18, that conversation that we had in that dorm room over a hero sitting on the bed, we're sitting down just like, yo, so what you want to do with your life? Like, we here in college, what you want to do? And he said, you see that on TV? And I was like, yeah. He's like, that's Martin. I was like, yeah, that's one of my favorite shows. He's like, yeah, me too, I want to do that. I want to be an actor. Hey. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So how you going to do that? I'm like joking at the time, but how are we going to do that? How are we going to make you an actor?
Now, I don't want to cut you off, but that right there made me fall in love. For the first time in my life, I told somebody my dreams, and they didn't laugh. She said, how are we going to do that? And I was like...
And it was a joke at the time, because I'm like, look at me, including myself in his dream, right? But I was like...
That hit me, though.
The way he said it with such certainty that he just knew he was going to be actor. Here we are 20 years later, and what is he, y'all?
An actor.
Yeah.
A working actor.
And I didn't get hit by myself. Busy. My wife in college, that same day, we made a plan. I was like, I'm good enough to go to the NFL. Once again, you have this delusional confidence, when you want to be successful. And I said, I'm going to go to the NFL. If I can make it to the practice squad, I can make $100,000 in 4 months. We could buy a house in Brownstone in Brooklyn. We could rent out the top 2 floors. We can live downstairs. We don't have to pay rent, and we don't have to be starving artists. From the time I told her that, everything I wanted to do to put my dream in place, she was right there next to me. She taught me how to read my DAR. When I was too tired from going to football practice, she went in and signed me in the classes. Like, when I tell you she was with me shooting in the gym, when I was training for the NFL, she used to drive me to my speed training and weightlifting classes. Come back, she used to make me meals. When I separated my shoulder, I had to sleep sitting up for the last 2 games. I went out on the couch and was sitting like this. She came and sat up next to me. And this is the crazy part. I'm 5'9" at the time, 165 pounds at Hofstra University. It's not like I'm at Alabama and I'm going to be a #1 overall pick. Nobody believes I'm going to the NFL except for me and my girl. And I got there because we worked on it together. Like, there was no just Devale doing this. Everything we've done from the time we were 18 until now has been together.
And the reason why that's sometimes hard to love. Yeah, and the reason why that's hard to love sometimes is because sometimes I just want my husband. We work together a lot. We have the podcast. We have the content we create with our children. Sometimes I'm gonna need you to clock out, my G. Like, I'm gonna need my husband. I don't need the business partner. I don't need the co-host. I don't need actor Devale. Well, sometimes I need Zach, because y'all saw that blue light special? Did anybody see the blue light special?
Respectfully.
All right. Respectfully.
That's how we got Dakota.
That's how come Dakota's here. I
Dakota.
literally went on Amazon and was like, get me a blue light. Check out cart. He was home. Blue light. Dakota's here. So sometimes I'm going to have him clock in as Zach. But other than that, I just want my man. I want my best friend. I want my boyfriend. We have moments like that. So it's difficult sometimes because as much as I love his unyielding work ethic, sometimes I'm like, bro, I'm gonna need just you.
And I was listening to your podcast, and Devale, you said something similar where you were like, I miss my girlfriend. And it's so interesting to me that, first of all, you all can say that stuff out loud to each other, but also that, like, it's almost like jealousy, but you're like jealous of a different version.
No, it's not almost jealousy.
It is,
jealousy.
right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I get jealous sometimes. I get jealous of my kids. I get jealous of her career. I get jealous of things because we started everything together. It was just her and I. So I'm used to having her attention and her sense of urgency towards me all the time. But that shifts when you have children, especially when you have a mom that's present. And a lot of men won't say it openly because they fear that they sound like a nag. And what happens is when you don't speak those things out and you don't let your woman know that you miss them, they start to think that they're just supposed to be working on other things and can leave you on the back burner. I don't want to be left on the back burner because I don't leave her on the back burner. So I got to be open and say, baby, like, yo, like, I'm here. Like, don't forget that I'm here. And part of the reason why we continue to thrive as a couple so much is because I can say that to her and she can say that to me and we don't take it personal. It's just, all right, let me refocus because I might be missing something. And if you don't remind me, then I'll never know it. So.
And one area I went wrong in was expecting him to always be the one to understand. Because it's like, wow, we got 4 kids, 11, 5, 4, and 7 months. I'm expecting you to understand, like, you're an adult. I can't deal with you right now. I have this going on, or we have this deadline, and our manager's on my back about something I have to produce or create. Babe, you gotta wait. And then I had to realize, like, okay, at what point am I going to make him a priority? At what point am I going to be able to divide my time where it's impossible to be 100% to everybody and everything at the same time, but I do need to designate time and not neglect the fact that my husband wants me, because the minute he stopped wanting me, it's going to be a problem.
That's facts.
You know, the minute he stopped checking for me, the minute he's not looking for me, then chances are he might be looking somewhere else. And
That's
I'm
facts.
not willing to do that because I'm not going to look cute sitting in jail, so...
That
She's
was
a
a
lunatic,
warning.
guys.
It was a
She's
warning.
She's a lunatic. It's crazy.
The onus was on me.
Okay, this is a question we ask every couple we talk to in this series, and it is, how does it feel to love a black woman?
This is it's not a difficult question for me because I grew up with a black mom. Like, mom, I never saw myself marrying anybody other than a black woman, because my grandmother and my mom made it very clear to me not to bring anybody else in the house. So it was just, that's what it was. But also, I grew up in a house that was very big in the civil rights movement. My family grew up in Jim Crow South, and I am very keen on the struggles, and I know history. If you guys don't follow, we teach our children's true American history, not black history. We teach them true American history, from the Civil War to convict leasing to black codes. My children know everything about the history of this country. And I personally don't feel like any other woman outside of my community can understand my struggle as a black man. When I come home at night, I don't want to have to explain to my wife, who may not be black, why I'm angry. Because I have friends who've married outside, and they come back and they say to me, like, can you believe she's gonna say to me why everything has to be about race? And sometimes I say, bro, I can understand that because she's not black. You have to understand that you made that choice, so you have to educate her. I just felt like marrying a black woman is marrying someone who knows me, and someone who can also teach my children how to be black. So for me, marrying a black woman and loving a black woman is like the epitome of loving myself.
Ooh. Okay, soundbite.
Oh, I get a clap for that? I get a clap from you too?
You got claps from me. You earned that. Okay, we're gonna get to some rapid fire questions before we get to some of your questions. So if you got questions, please get them ready. All right. You gotta answer very quickly, all right?
Okay.
Khadeen,
Yeah.
what would Devale say is your greatest strength?
Ooh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Answer.
Damn.
Wrong.
I literally drew a blank. Sorry.
I know what it is.
Tell me.
Her resiliency. This
okay.
woman, she cheated death twice, having babies. She graduated magna cum laude. She was valedictorian of a middle school. She did all of that while being an amazing mom and beautiful and a wife. And she still drops it when I ask her to. Like, she just does everything.
Thank
Like, she
you.
just
I
does
guess I have
everything.
a hard time trying to figure out what I do well because I'm always like picking
It's her
at myself.
resiliency. There's nothing can face her.
That's also his job, too, is to big you up when you,
Of course,
can't yourself.
I appreciate
Okay,
that.
Devale, you just answered that, so I'm going to go back to Khadeen for the next one.
go back to me.
If Devale could play one song for the rest of his life, what would it be?
One song for the rest of his life, Beauty by Drew Hill.
Ooh, is that correct, Devale?
It is. Because that's the
Hey.
song that we first made love to.
Oh, wow.
But that's not the song we first had sex to, though. But it's the first song we made
Well,
love to.
damn.
Yeah. It was.
Beauty happened when it was very deliberate.
It was.
Then at the moment when, it started, that's the song that was playing.
The song was on. We was in the moment. I looked at her. She had a tear rolling down her eye.
The one
I was
tear.
like, whoa.
It was that Denzel tear. I was
Yeah.
like,
I was like, what happened? You all right?
tear.
Denzel
She was
tear.
like, I don't know. I just love you.
Feels right.
And I was like,
Feels right.
yeah. That's what that is. That's love. I was 19, so
Yeah, he was finessing it.
I was in my moment.
Wow, we're going to remember that one.
Right.
That answer. Okay, if Khadeen could only play one song for the rest of her life, what would it be?
I would say Bob Marley, Three Little Birds, because She's from Jamaica. Bullet.
Hey, so am I. Hey, Jamaica.
Our son's middle name is Marley, and 3 little birds represent her brother, her sister, and they also represent her grandmother who passed away. So that's what I would say.
Oh, that was a nice try.
Damn, that up.
That was a nice try. I have several songs.
See, she don't know. How am I supposed to know she don't know?
Women never know.
This is what it's like going to get something to eat. What you want to eat, babe?
Okay, it's supposed to be quick fire, y'all. Come on.
She don't even know.
I know. All right, I'll give you that one. That was good. I have the 3 little birds tattooed here on my hand, too. My arm.
That's beautiful.
Very sentimental. Very sentimental.
Khadeen, describe Devale as a meal.
Ooh, it's a meal. All right, so he'd probably be my favorite plate, which is...
What is going on here?
Wait, okay, you would be my favorite meal, which is rice and peas. Why? Because rice and peas with the coconut milk, and it takes time. Bullet.
We have a yardie.
Because, God took his time making him the same way you got to take your time to soak the peas, the rice, the coconut milk, all that, right?
Soak the peas, baby.
Soak the peas.
Soak the peas like they used to do.
All right. So then, with a side of steamed cabbage, because you need your vegetables, you need the goods, right? And then the oxtail.
Woo!
All right?
That's the highest compliment you can give somebody.
Oxtail's mad expensive.
Slow cooked, mad expensive, okay? The oxtail dear nowadays.
Hey.
So the oxtail slow cooked, so it's falling off the bone with extra gravy. Heavy on the gravy, baby. I'll sop your ass up.
Woo!
With a nice side of some limeade. Sweetened with brown sugar.
Khadeen just gave a whole meal and then some.
Y'all hungry?
Full 3-course meal there. Okay, we're running out of time, so we got to get to... because it is coming up on your 20th anniversary, we're going to give you the opportunity to give each other an anniversary roast or a toast. You can choose. You have 30 seconds starting now.
So, almost 20 years ago, we made this official.
Yes.
And it has been by far the best ride of my life. Thinking about going from having absolutely nothing to all the things and more, I look forward to many, many more years of deep ass grabs, amazing lovemaking, no more children, spontaneous trips, and just continuing to build this legacy that we are building for our babies.
1.
And I love you.
I love you.
Great. That was beautiful. Okay. Devale, 30 seconds.
It's very simple. I'm going to say, baby, when I first met you, I didn't realize that no matter how beautiful your wife is, she farts in her sleep. But I love you anyway. Here is to...
Damn, roast me, go ahead.
Here is to 20 more years of beautiful kids, amazing meals, chasing our legacy, and sloppy toppy.
Ooh.
A mess, y'all.
Y'all are really, really cute. If you didn't believe in love before this, you do now. Okay, do we have any audience questions? Hand in the back right there. Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm about to go over.
I like that shirt. The back is cute.
Time-wise.
First of all, I just want to say what's good to my Brooklyn coming from Flatbush.
What's good, Flatbush,
what's up,
yo?
Flatbush?
I'm a Bush baby, yes.
What's
Backyard.
53rd Avenue D, what's good?
And my question for you guys is I'm currently in a long-distance relationship, and sometimes it's actually really difficult to make those connections, and actually you end up disconnected and feeling very far away, not just physically. So my question for you is, have you ever had those times, and if so, how do you find your way back, and how do you find a way to connect to make sure you're stronger than ever?
Oh, nice. Yeah, we definitely had, thank you for your question. What's your name?
Beautiful question.
Kim.
Hi, Kim. All right, so we definitely had those moments when Devale was in the NFL, actually. So that was our first time technically away from each other. Of course, we went to college together. He ended up graduating, going to the NFL. I stayed back at Hofstra for grad school. I had an additional year. And that was probably the moment that we had the toughest time, just adjusting to not having each other nearby, but then also the distance. You don't have the luxury of seeing each other on a day-to-day basis. Now, I will say in this society now, in this time period, because Lord, it feels like it was so long ago, I think there's an advantage that people have with FaceTime, with all the different ways that you can connect with someone, that I almost feel like it's almost inexcusable to not have a way to connect with someone, even with distance. So the person has to be deliberate about wanting to make the time to connect. I don't think there's any excuses that should be made. When we had to then take flights to get to each other, of course, that was difficult. It was expensive. We were in college. We didn't have the funds. So we were trying to make it possible. But I feel like now with distance, there are just so many ways to connect with someone that sometimes you have to be intentional about disconnecting from your devices. Use those ways to stay connected. As long as someone's deliberate and intentional about wanting to be a part of your life, wanting to be connected to you, I feel like there really should not be any excuse with all of the resources that we have now.
And I'll say this too. People make time for what's important. So if it's important for you and it's important for him, y'all will find a way. Also, don't be intimidated by trying to do, quote unquote, too much. You'll have people saying, don't always be the one to reach out. Don't do this, don't do that. Do what you feel. If you feel that you want to do that, don't not do it because society tells us you have to pull back. This woman never pulled back. She came and got me 1,000%, and I'm here. When I wanted her, I went and got her. All my boys telling me, you're doing too much, don't do this, or you're going to look like a sucker, you're going to look like a simp. Here I am 20 years in. You understand what I'm saying? So if you want something, go get it. And that's not just about relationship, that's about life. Okay. So if that relationship is something you want, go get it, ma, and it's yours.
Thank you.
That was a really beautiful question. I'm so sorry, we are out of time. Actually, can we do one more? Okay, one more real quick question. One more real quick question. You right there. Hey. And you guys have like 10 seconds on the clock to answer it.
Okay.
We got you. We'll make it quick. Give us your name.
Real quick. What's up, first up with your name and then real quick question.
Okay. My name is Dulce, and I got to put on my shades because y'all shining.
Oh, you're so
She put shades on.
I'm shining out here.
Yo, that's funny.
I said we didn't have time, and you took time to put your shades on. Okay, come on.
My question is, do you guys have a time limit for how long you will be giving your relationship to us? Because we appreciate seeing it in the Black love, but like,
that's a great question.
It doesn't seem like it's sustainable for a real love relationship.
Oh, man, I'm glad you asked that
question. Girl, because I'll be ready to clock out like today. Right. Like today.
Here's the truth, right? There's 1,440 minutes in a day, right? If we give you 3 minutes a day, that's less than 1,000% of our actual time.
Okay, math.
Which is, this is what I do. That's how I make the money, right? But I say that to say this. What you see from us is not a large part of our life. It's just the part that's curated so that you can see it. I always take time to make sure that my wife, my kids, and my business are taken care of first. So there may be lapses where you're like, dang, I haven't seen the Ellises in a couple of days. That means I didn't have those 3 minutes to spare. But as long as I'm here on this earth and we decide that we want to do it together, we're always going to share our relationship because inspiring people is the greatest gift you can give the world. And that's all we want to do. And even if that's inspired people to say, you know what, I don't ever want to be married because I don't want to be that selfless and that committed to someone else, it's still an inspiration to know that someone else wants to live life a certain way. And that's just part of our testimony. That's part of who we are. So we're going to just keep doing it till the wheels fall off.
And the only thing that keeps us going is y'all. Literally.
Yes.
I have days.
Yes.
I have days that I wake up, I'm like, Devale, I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to post nothing. I don't want to be on social media. I just want to be in my bubble. But then I get a reminder from somebody like you or somebody on the street that says, you have no idea how much your podcast saved my marriage. You have no idea how much you're impacting the culture or society. And that's what keeps us going. So we appreciate y'all for all the love and the support.
No, seriously,
thank you for being here. Thank you for sitting in D.C.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you both, Khadeen and Devale. Wow, this was an incredible talk.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Even for the shade.
I had to throw a little. Come on. Men, you need some shades sometimes. Okay, thank you so much for being here, and we're wishing you 20 more years and a lifetime of happiness together.